We're writing a new musical to premiere not on Broadway and never to reach Broadway because it will be so underground that it will melt in the earth's core. It will be a musical about the ascension to godhood of a lock of hair snipped from a nun and a lock of hair snipped from a lady of the night, braided together to create one two-toned megalock. The opening number features both the nun and the one who ain't no nun. They sing their biographies in a kind of a highly syncopated counterpoint that leaves the viewer prepared for the fact that this piece of art will not hold your hand. It will not say to you, "This is the way to decode me. I'm transparent." These Stephen Sondheim's out there writing windows, honey. I'm here writing homes. You might not be able to see what's inside right away, but once you find the key to it, you can live in it. The locks of hair are snipped off by a feisty little imp named Ferongus. He comes from a material plane situated between here and the dream world. The dream world breathes its stank breath, and the real world wiggles its tootsies. And when the breath particles touch the tootsie particles, it makes Ferongus. He has ideas about how to improve the lot of his people in the interworld. You see, it is stanky and towy there. So he wants to create something new, something better than what we got. Ferongus is aware that the current reigning deity of this and all worlds is kind of a slacker. This is the type where instead of getting a table, he just shoved dinner in his mouth over the toilet like the little piggy that he is, because this god happens to be half piggy. It was somebody took a piggy and somebody took a kitty cat and then put them together into the God machine. And when they came out of the God machine, they were God. And their first act as God was to destroy the God machine so they would remain God. And what a very piggy kitty thing to do. So now, Ferongus, he needs that hair. He acquires it by sneaking into the bedrooms of these ladies while they are otherwise occupied, one of them deep in prayer, to a deity she does not realize is two animals warped by technology infused into a divine mutant, but whom she worships all the same out of the faith that comes from her little soul. The other lady is making arrangements with a man named Darrell, and the less said about that, the better. Ferongus has the tiniest scissors in the world because Ferongus is borderline microscopic. Like, you can see him if you're looking real close, but if you're not looking for him, you're not looking at him. It is a Herculean task for Ferongus to achieve the severance of these hair locks out of the heads from which they sprout. There are 3 songs that span this portion of festivities. I say portion of festivities because there are no acts here. We do not believe in your prescriptive structures that have guided human theater ever since the days of the ancient Mesopotamian movie druids, who would summon blockbusters with action sequences so glorious that even the very Mesopotamian gods themselves would look down upon it and chew popcorn and say, "Dude, no way," at every explosion. Ferongus sings about the lives of these women who do not know one another and who, though so different, in many ways share the same personality, just translated through different lenses based upon their life experiences. He sees into the heart of humanity. He sees the truth of the matter of this our existence, because Ferongus, even though he is motivated by the plight of his own stank-encumbered people, laboring under the weight of so many toe particles, He has learned that the suffering stretches beyond his world and into all worlds, including our world. Once he has the hair, he must tie it together, and this is a comedic segment because he's too tiny. Each individual hair is so stiff and pokey to him. Oh, it's like paper cuts for Ferongus. Now, of course, there is still an obstacle in his little way, and that's the lack of the God machine. Only one thing could ever make that, and that is God. So Ferongus goes to visit God. He brings offerings of chamomile tea and a couple of cigarettes dipped in grenadine. That's God's favorite. So Ferongus sits down with God. He originally told God that he had a requisition form for a couple of new swamps on Pluto. He did have those documents, and look, nobody's motivated by only one thing in life. Ferongus wanted to create a new god, but he also wanted some extra Pluto swamps. Hey, let the man be multifaceted. Let us all be multifaceted. Chekhov has his gun, and I say Chekhov should just eat it. There, I said it. I'm an iconoclast. God enjoys the gifts and looks over the forms, and then Ferongus is like, hey, God, I heard a funny story about how you destroyed just this whacking machine. Oh, God, thank you so much. Whacking machines scare me. Have you seen this Alexa thing? Ooh, boy, that's creepy. And God says, yes, my child, Alexa is terrifying. And then in the corner, God's Alexa goes on and says, I don't know what Alexa says. I need to do research on it. I don't have one of those. I don't believe in voluntary technocratic surveillance. But at any rate, flatters the Christ out of God. And God starts describing this machine. Describes it in such accurate detail, down to the molecule. Now, no mortal apparatus could ever properly apprehend the words of the Almighty. But Ferongus, he really can't, because he ain't really into technology that much. He skipped that class in college when he went to Little Pixie College with the other floating monstrosities from the inner world. He like, God, I don't get it yet. It sounded even more scary. I'm all afraid. God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What are you talking about, God? Eventually, God got frustrated. Wasn't mad. Just felt like, oh, if only I understood my creation better, I could communicate the truth of this machine I'd done effed up long ago. Then God's like, wait a minute, I know what to do. And he's just like, here you go, Ferongus. This is what it looked like. Waves his hand, and with a strange little floopy smacking noise, the machine materializes right on God's veranda. Ferongus goes to inspect. It says to God, God, you sure this can't hurt me? And God says, oh, don't you worry, Ferongus. Hey, I destroyed it once, I do it again. Ferongus is like, yeah. So he goes over, makes like he's inspecting, secretly slips the hair braid into the machine. God starts gripping at his throat like something's wrong, and Ferongus says, God, what's wrong? And then God vanishes, and a new God steps out the machine. Now comes the audience participation portion of festivities, and everybody in the audience gets to write down a little prayer and pass it up to Hair God, who then eats all the prayers because they're on kind of a dehydrated peanut papyrus. We made sure to hire an actor without allergies to play this role. It would get us in the papers, but we don't want that. We're so far underground, we coming out the South Pole.